Friday news dump. On this show, we talk about all the injuries after the injury report is released, and we tell you how to capitalize on those injuries. Hello, Holden here, Bobby Gomes, and JSU making a special appearance today. You know, JSU doesn't miss working with me, but I've missed working with him. And they put us back together on the Up to Lock show, which is so much fun. So I'm pretty excited about that. I don't know why Johnny AirPods just texted me. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh, you texted me the dog. Hey, by the way, in my phone, you're Johnny AirPods. That's it. You threw it down there. Officially Johnny AirPods.
It's a good name, right? I was texting you guys because I wanted you to see what pup I was dragging in my house from about 200 yards away from my house. And I dragged him all the way in and he took stops. And then he mutinied outside my deck because he didn't want to come inside because he was so pissed. He got stopped on the walk because I had to turn back around to hang out with you fucks. So I'm ready to go.
You can go. I mean, that's not a nice word to call us. That's really mean.
No, I'm just letting you know that Reggie's pissed at you guys. I told him it was Tambo's fault, and then Bobby, and then Holden. So Holden, you got the last bit because you didn't call me, Bobby.
No, I told him we could do it ourselves, but I'm glad you're here, Jason.
It was my fault. I called JSU late.
What's happening, Bobby? Before we get into all the news, what's doing, man? You and your $1 million check still back there behind you? This is just amazing.
Yeah, we need to get a new one up there this weekend.
You bring girls home? Is that like the first thing you show them? Like, come here, honey.
No, I don't even let them come in this room. I have a girlfriend, Holden. I can't be bringing chicks home
Holden.
at this point.
How long you
bring chicks home?
Pre or post Millie takedown?
What?
Pre or post Millie takedown when you met her?
Post. No, I met her pre, but she didn't like me. She liked me after the
Good choice there, pal. That's gonna
be she liked me before.
All right, so two things. First of all, Up to Lock show MLB right after this at 6:00. Hit up Hoop today. I said, Hoop, these baseball guys, even the non-subscribers, let's give them something. Let's give them a subscription. So yeah, a subscription, a monthly subscription. We will be handing out to a non-member today during that show, so you're going to want to tune in. And for a member, Hoop said a 555. We're giving away a 555 on DK today. So if you play baseball, members, make sure you watch that show live. Non-subscribers, that's fine. We're going to give away something to you. Everything's going to be great. And if you've not signed up for our product yet, we got RPS Heater 25% off your first payment on a monthly subscription. All right, boys, let's get into this. Lamar Jackson, questionable. I'm just going to move on from that, Bobby. I don't think that's a big deal. I think the Niners issues are big deals, though, because we got Elijah Mitchell with the shoulder injury. He missed time last week. And then Kittle is questionable with that calf. And I think we're not going to know about him until tomorrow night or Sunday. So what does that do for you in a game with a 51.5 total?
Yeah, there's a couple different late swap issues in that game. You hit on the Niners and Elijah Mitchell and Kittle. Those are big parts of their offense. It's obviously news you're going to want to wait on. But in that same game, I think with the Lockett news, I'm pretty sure Lockett was questionable. And if he sits with Gerald Everett now sitting, Will Dissly would be a play that a lot of people would be going to, along with DK Metcalf. In terms of the Niners side, like Trey Sermon, maybe it opens that. I feel like I'm fine going back to Trey Sermon. In regards to Kittle, it just would open up for Debo and Ayuk, but I don't really have much interest in those guys. That would pretty much be my take.
Hey, JSU, Johnny AirPods. Who are you sending more pictures of your dog to?
No, sorry. I was just tweeting out the show.
Well, thank you.
Tweeting out the show to tell the people to roll in here to get the news done. I mean,
we should probably put it in the Discord too.
I did. That's what I was doing. I did it.
So talk to me here about the Niners. Did you have any?
Bobby just shitting all over Trey Sermon. I mean, giving him no respect. I just don't understand. So what is okay? If I tell you that Mitchell is out, Bobby, what's your reaction? Are you just okay, it kind of bumps up Trey Sermon, but I still want no part of it? Or is it more oh, that bumps Trey Sermon up to a play that I'm going to be interested in. Like, what is your outlook on that when you get that news?
When I get that news,
news?
I'm just thinking everyone's going to want to play bad chalk. Well, bad chalk. Trey Sermon
He
would
won't
end
be
up
chalk.
He won't be chalk. No, yeah, then it bumps up Trey Sermon. I just can't. I don't really like to play. I haven't got on the Trey Sermon train yet, but I get it at 5K with Mitchell out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it. Like, yeah, Juszczyk played a role. I honestly think that in the first half, if you watch that game too with the Packers and the 49ers, the offensive line didn't play as good. And then if you watch the second half, it looked like a completely different offensive line. And they were using Trey Sermon more in the second half, it seemed like, and actually giving him opportunity. And the one thing that people worry about is that specifically, like, you know, because clearly the team maybe doesn't like him as much as Mitchell right now. I think that the whole week one thing, because you're going to get the people who are like, oh, well, week one, he was inactive. I throw that out because look at what they're doing with Ayuk. I mean, nobody in the world thought Ayuk was going to play like 90% of the snaps last week. Nobody, not one person would have told you that. And he did. He was right up there with Deebo Samuel. You guys knew that, right? Like,
86%.
He played that much.
Yep, 86% snap rate.
So if that's the case, that just tells me that something was up with those two guys. Maybe they got in trouble. Maybe they pissed off Shanahan. Whatever it was, Shanahan, they did something. Shanahan was mad, so he kind of, you know, gave him a little slap on the wrist, right, Holden? But he's showing with Ayuk that I think what we're going to see with Sermon, if Mitchell is out, is going to be that where he's going to trend up in the playing and opportunity standpoint if Mitchell is indeed out. So he should be someone that people are really focusing on from a news standpoint.
Okay, Sermon is who you're talking about. Right?
Yes.
So,
okay, and then,
so can I just touch on one thing as well? Like, there's also like Montgomery's probably at 5'8", or actually Montgomery isn't even showing where I'm looking now. Just with all these earlier running backs, like you have the late swap equity. And you're waiting on Tyler Lockett news. I don't know if we've gotten that yet. He had a Q tag this morning. But Everett, like I talked about, he's out. So in that game, like if you're saving, if you're keeping late swap equity in your lineups for the 4:00 window, there's a lot of opportunity there if stuff goes busto in the 1 p.m. window, especially at running back.
Okay. And just so everybody knows, take it for what it's worth. I'm on Ayuk today. I don't care who's in or who's out. I love them. Obviously, I hope Kittle's in there, but the snap rate, 47, 54 to 86 last week, 4 of 6 targets, 37 yards. And as I always say, and he's got a great matchup. I mean, JSU, Trey Flowers and DJ Reed. Like, does it get much better than that this week? So
Seattle's a great matchup for the entire opposing team. So from an offensive standpoint, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Seattle is just, they might be, and I think the one other thing with Seattle that nobody's discussing, they might be a little bit like easy to read from their offensive standpoint, like Russell, that nobody's talking about, because I think teams figured them out. I think they figured them out last year in the half, at the second half part of the year. I think we're starting to see that, like, what happened in that game with Minnesota in the second half? Like, what happened? What happened to DK Metcalf? I mean, the first drive of the game, DK Metcalf was it was locked in, right? Him and Russ were locked in. Boom, boom. The guy scores a quick touchdown. He's off to the races. And then it just seemed like nothing. Something's going on with that offense. I don't know if it's just the play calling is not there. I have no idea. But, man, you just got to give the ball. Let Russell just do what he does.
He did last year, though, and it didn't turn out well. If they just haven't found the balance, JSU, they've changed offense.
That might be it, but I'm sorry. I'm gonna give him more opportunities throwing the football. Yeah. So he had 23, 31, and 32 passing attempts. We're talking about Russell Wilson. I know you want to have a little bit of I know they want to run the football, but my God, you're gonna waste this guy is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. You can't change my opinion on this. And you're wasting him right now. You need to use him. He needs to use his legs a little more too, in my opinion. That's one thing nobody's talked about, but 5 attempts, 3 attempts, rushing the ball, 9 yards, 16 yards, 7 yards. Use that a little bit and let him just kind of be Russ. It seems like they're not letting him do that. And I think that's hurting the entire offense. From a standpoint, he just makes things happen. And when you take that away from a guy like Russ, it really hurts the team and him.
So let's move on. I mean, we could talk about these guys all day long. There is other news. Bobby, I'm going to go to JSU first on this one, though. Gronk's ribs, doubtful. A couple of Patriots beat reporters saying he might not even make the trip. Like, don't we have to prepare? And that's a Sunday game. I get it, but I want to talk about it because it's Gronk. Don't we have to prepare for him to be out? Like, if you're playing showdown in that game, don't we have to prepare? And who gets the biggest bump?
Yeah. So, he should be ruled out already. That's how hurt he is. I think if it was any other game, he would have already been ruled completely out. That's how messed up he is. The expectation, it seems like, is he's not going to play unless he wakes up like Sunday and he just feels somehow great. But I don't think that's going to happen. You said they're reporting he might not fly out. I mean, he's got tons of friends and family that are going to be at the game. I know that for sure. One of my best friends is great friends with him and is planning on being at the game with his brother. So, I know for a fact that he's going to have a decent amount of family there. But it seems like he's really hurt from all the reports. From what my buddy said, he's just really banged up. And I don't know if it's going to heal by Sunday. So I expect him to be out. We don't have to worry about it from a main slate standpoint. Obviously, when we talk about showdown, yeah, OJ Howard, Cameron Brate, they're going to get a bump. Listen, Tom Brady is going to carve that Patriots team up. There's no one that's going to change my opinion on this too, that Tom Brady is the NFL is praying that Tom Brady goes out there and just completely destroys Bill Belichick just from a rating stand. I want to see it. I mean, I live in New England. I want to see Brady go out there. They had that thing, Holden. Did you see someone ask oh, are the fans going to boo or cheer?
Who's booing Brady? Who?
If you are a New England fan and you actually boo Brady, you should be kicked out of the stadium. Yeah. You should literally be kicked out of the stadium. Anyone who boos Tom Brady for what he did in New England should be kicked out because he gave everyone, 19 years, whatever it was, in 9 Super Bowl trips and 6 Super Bowl rings or whatever it is. I don't know how you could ever boo someone who does that for you as a franchise. So that's just crazy to me, but I expect everyone to cheer, at least when he first walks out.
Any of the boys there in the North End going to be booing Tom Brady? Because if they should, you break their kneecaps, okay?
Yeah, I'm not a big kneecap breaker, but I will say I seen a poll on NBC Sports Boston. It was 16%. I think that's what JSU just hit on. It's 16% of fans are rooting for Tom Brady. It's going to be way higher. I can't imagine rooting for the Patriots over Tom Brady. There's no, I don't know. All he's done for New England, tough scene there. That had to be a fake number.
How many people in your area that went out when Tom Brady went to Tampa and bought Tampa Bay Tom Brady jerseys? Because I know at least 30 people.
Yeah, I can. I have direct family members that had them on the other day. So yeah. It's just, I can't imagine that was the number on NBC Sports Boston. That just seems ridiculous.
Doesn't surprise me. All right, guys, let's keep it up here. We'll move let's move our chains, guys. I just got this. Greg Bell, Seahawks beat reporter. Sounds like Tyler Lockett's going to play. DK Metcalf limited again with a foot issue. And it's something that Metcalf has battled for a while now. I was doing some look at correlations, Bobby. If you're stacking Russell Wilson, it is negative correlation for you to play both Metcalf and Lockett at the same time with him. Pick a wide receiver. Which one are we taking with Russell Wilson this week?
Well, it looks like we might have to be taking Metcalf because Lockett's questionable, right? And we kind of hit on that being a 425 game, Sermon being in that game. A lot of late swap equity there. For me, I think a lot of cash game guys, if you're trying to just build a cash game team or construct the optimal, you would have to imagine that like with Gerald Everett out and possibly Tyler Lockett out, people are going to leave at least a wide receiver and a tight end position open. Trey Sermon being what he is, like he's not going to be chalked because he's starting at 405. But if he was one of these earlier like you just have more time to make decisions, get more data, basically construct your build that way. Metcalf for me we're going to talk about like MVS news. It's kind of slight, but where I was willing, if I was playing cash and I was willing to go from Adams down to Metcalf prior to the MVS news, I don't think I would necessarily go there now because I don't know. I just think that MVS being out kind of solidifies Adams, even though Adams can catch 3 touchdowns if MVS is in or not. But
anything there? Just Bobby, I'm gonna pick it up a little bit. Bobby.
Yeah. So, sorry. That's pretty much, that would pretty much be, I was just thinking through like what all this news transpiring at 425 would kind of equate to. That's pretty much it.
I think they're both going to play. JSU, you're high on this game offense. Pick a wide receiver because Metcalf's not 100% either.
Yeah, I mean, both guys were limited, right? Pretty much, they're injured. They got injuries, so I think it's DK Metcalf. I'm going to keep saying it. Like, you're right. One of these guys, it seems like pops off every game, right? And it's like, which one do I play? And I think I'm just going to keep playing DK Metcalf, especially when you're talking about normally, one of these guys, normally like Tyler Lockett, there is a little, cheaper price tag on him. There's not, right? It's $100 difference. So you're literally just straight up picking these guys. And I'm just going to keep going with DK. In this matchup last year, Holden, this is what we talk about. DK Metcalf crushed the first week. The second week, Tyler Lockett crushed with 2 touchdowns. So, the second time they played the 49ers. So, like, this is a real toss-up thing. I think if you're stacking this game with Russ, I'm going to play DK, but that's your choice on what you want to do. San Francisco's defense is not good, and I'll keep saying it. I don't think their defense, I think it's a little overrated to what people think their defense is.
Okay. We'll move. Bobby, do you have something?
I side with JSU. DK would be far and away the better play for me.
Yeah, well, it's DK every week. I just love DK.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for him just to have that 175 and 3 touchdowns. He was on his way last week, and then they just totally took him out of the game plan. Like, he was open too. It just, forget it. We're not going to throw to DK. I don't know what happened to them last week. And you know what? Seattle didn't have the ball very much either. I'm just going to read a great stat that I just saw here. 12 straight wins for the Niners or for the Rams over the Cardinals. Are you kidding? 8 straight. It's 8 straight? Okay. 8 straight losses to Sean McVay for the Cardinals. Cardinals have not started 4-0 since 2012. Darrell Henderson. He is questionable, leaning toward playing. But can we really trust him, JSU? We can't trust him, can we? In that backfield, like, he's not 100%. What do you got?
So I would love Darrell Henderson if we didn't have this Q tag and he was just I think this is a great matchup for the running back, especially Sean McVay, right? But it seems like they're trying to get him to play, but it doesn't seem like he'll be able to play his full allotment of snaps, where he's going to literally get 90+% and Sony's going to get next to nothing, right? So it seems more like we could maybe see a split Holden. I don't know if I'm reading this wrong. It's kind of tough to know exactly though, because obviously we're not, Sean McVay, so we don't know exactly what his plan is. But it's tough to see a guy who's been consistently injured for his NFL career. And it's the reason they drafted Cam Akers after only 1 year, right, Holden? After 1 year, they drafted Cam Akers because they knew this guy gets injured all the time. And it would be tough for them to use him the way they wanted to, because they want to use him like a bell cow back. That's why they drafted Cam Akers. Obviously, Cam Akers gets hurt before the year starts. Darrell Henderson slides in and he gets hurt after 2 weeks. So, obviously they should be caution with him, even if he does play. So I expect he plays, but he doesn't play his full, 90% of snaps or whatever it was.
Bobby, any interest there with Henderson this week?
No, I think JSU hit the nail on the head. Like schematically, I don't think Sony played early because he wasn't up to speed with how complex the Rams blocking system really is. And like it took a couple weeks, and now he got all the work last week. I see him easily cutting in with Henderson if Henderson's back. So that would be something a situation I'd stay away from.
All right, let's roll to the wide receivers, and we'll start with the Titans. No Julio, no AJ Brown. Who does this benefit, or is it besides for Derrick Henry, or is it just a full fade of the offense besides for the big man?
It's a full fade of the offense besides Henry for me, and maybe even a fade of Henry in tournaments. Definitely not in cash, but I think you could make a case to kind of get off the Henry chalk in tournaments.
I mean, we got Nick Westbrook-Akine and Josh Reynolds, who I'm actually a little bit excited about, but I'm probably not going to roster him, and Chester Rogers. So what do you want to do here, JSU? Do we want any pieces from this Titans offense this week?
Yeah, so the receivers are real hit and miss, I think. I mean, Julio did play around like 50% of the snaps last week, but he was kind of nicked up, right? So he didn't play that much. And Westbrook was the main fill-in guy, right? We'll say other guys played, but Westbrook was like the main guy who got 78% of the snaps with Julio getting 50%. You would expect that he's the one guy that is going to at least be on the field most of the time. I would expect as a wide receiver. Josh Reynolds, why was he inactive last week? Was that just like he was just like inactive?
He's kind of been inactive. Like I don't understand that either. He hasn't played at all. It looks like.
So is he just going to slide into this?
He's been healthy, guys. He's been healthy.
What I mean, so is he just not good anymore? I mean, we got McMath and Rogers and Batson, and he couldn't beat out any of those guys. Like, ooh,
no, I know that's
Reynolds.
Scary. That is scary.
Achilles in camp, but they said by week 1 he was fine. So yeah, it is a little scary, guys. Bobby, I'm not messing with it either. You know, JSU. I mean, if you want to find a gem, by all means, let us know. But I don't see it right now. Bobby, Slayton, and Shepard are out for the Giants. This has got to open something up for Evan Engram. I mean, is he going to be the chalk at tight end this week?
So that's the thing is like, I just want to wait for Will Dissly news. But if you're playing cash, like you might want to play Engram. But I think there's enough late swap equity for Will Dissly down at 2,500. You just play him. Or you have to at least consider it. Colin Johnson, someone at the wide receiver position, I think that you can play. He's not someone I'm targeting. And then going back to Kenny Golladay, I think people were trying to make that work last week. I guess you could do that in tournaments. I'm not these two groups of receivers from both these games. I don't really have a ton of interest in.
Okay. JSU, Giants, is there any fallout from here?
I mean, I don't understand why you draft the guy as high as you drafted Tony if you're the Giants and you don't play him. And then when he finally plays because of injury, he doesn't get the ball and you don't try and get the ball in his hands at all. Like what? I don't understand. I would say like he's the one Giant though. If you were playing a ton of lineups, I would look to play because I mean, they're obviously high on him if they drafted him as high as they did. He got 3 targets last game, 2 receptions. I mean, they've got to be trying to scheme up ways to get the ball in his hands for this game. You would expect Saquon Barkley to have a lot tougher time on the ground against the Saints. So they're going to be down, I think, trailing in this game. They're going to be trying to throw. It's either going to be one of those games that's like a low scoring 2017 type game, or it's going to be a 38-3 Saints roll. I think there's only 2 ways this game goes. So I don't love a ton from this game. I think if anything, you make a rule like only one receiver and just pick the guy you like, whether it's Tony. Bobby said Colin Johnson. Okay. I mean, if they get near the red zone, he's a big target, right, Bobby? He could definitely.
I don't love Colin Johnson, just to like reiterate, but I think that it's just like, I don't know. I'm just mentioning pieces.
He's got talent and he's big.
I'm with you. I don't understand Tony. Why don't they want to utilize it? Doesn't make any sense, right? Like kid's supposed to be like an extreme talent out of college and they have no interest. Just You can't assume rational coaching in the NFL, I
But
guess.
again, though, they've probably been planning for those guys to be out this entire week. So you would assume the game plan was getting Shepard and Slayton last week involved, and those guys go out early. You would assume this week, right? They were already assuming those guys were probably going to be out. So like they're planning probably on trying to get Tony the ball a little bit more. You would think.
Hopefully.
All right, boys, let's move on here. I do want to remind you, RPS Heater 25% off first monthly payment if you want to get in on our stellar NFL crew. You get the playbook. You get the cores from the best in the world. I mean, we got JSU right here. We got Bobby Gomes right here. You'll get – and by the way, now you got your player pool in there too. I mean, they just make it too easy. It's too easy. I wish you guys would stop put your player pool out there now, but – I got no say in this. So they want to give you the player pool. By all means, go ahead and do what you need to do. Two big pieces of news at running back. Dalvin Cook is questionable. Okay. He was limited in a lot of practices. And then this week, they kind of let him go. Last week, they didn't let him practice either. And then I do want to get to Antonio Gibson, who has a shin. Ron Rivera said he was pretty confident that Gibson's playing. So I'm not worried about him. But let's just assume something crazy happens and he's out. McKissick. And then with Dalvin Cook, JSU, start with Dalvin here. Do you roll him out there if he starts? Is this a week for Dalvin Cook, or are there other places to go? Because Madison crushed.
Yeah, Madison crushed. And if you were a subscriber on the Up to Lock show, I'm not a big chalk guy. I told everyone he was a lock button. Like Madison on the show. I said that like he's the easiest play on the board. Just play him. I'm locking him in all my builds, which I did. He crushed without even getting the end zone, which was the most impressive thing of the whole thing was he did that and he didn't even have to get in the end zone. He got 25 or 6. So it's amazing to me though, that $6K price tag. If that dude was like 5,800, I swear he would have been 10 or 15 more percent owned. I swear to God, it was like the fact that he was 6K on Draftkings threw people. I'm like, this is literally the best matchup you can ask for. And you're not going to play Alexander Madison because of a few $100s. Like I'm telling you though, I think that little price difference made it all. If you played on FanDuel, you'll notice the ownership was probably higher. It's because of the price tag. On DK though, his price tag was a little higher. So a lot of not as many of the sharp people, whatever you want to call them, moved on to him all the way. And that's why his ownership was literally half of what his ownership was on FanDuel. And it was just wrong. If we got that news that Dalvin Cook was out on Friday as well, I think it would have been higher, but people don't want to make adjustments like that when we get that news later. And I think you can see that. So that's something we can attack. When we get news later on Sunday morning, as opposed to earlier, like on Saturday, the news, people aren't jumping on it as quickly as you think in making adjustments. So I think that is where you can get a leg up on your competition if you pay close attention. Hopefully the subscribers did, and they jumped all on it. I know I had him in all my cores. Like I just thought he was the easiest play here. Dalvin for me this week, though, I like this game. I don't know if I'm going to play Dalvin Cook just because who knows? Are we getting the full 100% healthy Dalvin Cook? Maybe, but I'm probably just going to stay off. Not saying he's a bad play, though, just not going to have much.
Okay. Any Dalvin for you, Bobby Gomes? And then would you have any interest in McKissick against Atlanta if Gibson doesn't play?
Yeah, so I pretty much have the same take on Dalvin as JSU. I think I could consider playing Dalvin if we see guys like Kamara and Henry get extremely chalky. I also like Nick Chubb in that game at 7K as leverage off those guys, but that's a little off topic. McKissick, if Antonio Gibson misses, McKissick would become someone I'd have interest in, especially on DK, just because he fits the scoring system so well and he's playing the Falcons. Outside of that, that pretty much covers both those games.
Real quick with the Jets, Elijah Moore, concussion, he's out. Denzel Mims, active. Do we even want to mess with this game? Like my best bet in game last week was the Jets under 10.5 points. They couldn't even score. And I don't care how bad the Titans are, Bobby. These guys stink. The only guy I like from this game, I think Corey Davis will make a couple of catches, but he's not even DFS viable in this part. So what do you want to do? Any Jets? Anybody from this game?
The Jets have a 19.25 team total, so I don't know if I want any Jets in DFS. I get like the Corey Davis, like if Elijah Moore misses, you might want to play Corey Davis, but
how are they getting to 19.5? That almost seems like an underbet.
Isn't Elijah Moore out officially?
That's what
is he officially out? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was just making.
Oh, Elijah Mitchell. I'm sorry, Mitchell Moore.
Moore is out.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I mean, I think people should consider Corey Davis. I wouldn't consider. I think that people are looking too much at last week's game and saying, well, they literally got smacked around. They played the friggin' Broncos in Denver. That was the first game Denver got to play in Denver. One, playing in Denver is a huge leg up, in my opinion. It hurts the opponent coming in. And two, Denver's got literally the best defense in football, probably.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think people realize it. Holden, you said it was like playing a wide receiver too on defense during the Up the Lock show. You were 100% right.
Wow.
And obviously, Zach Wilson, rookie quarterback, going in there against that defense. I mean, what more do you want from him? The guy's played Bill Belichick, who has throughout his career destroyed rookie quarterbacks, destroyed them, just picked them apart and knew exactly how to attack them. He's played Denver in Denver. And then who was the other one he played against? I'm blanking on it right now. Who's the first game they played?
I don't remember.
You guys remember?
No.
I can't remember
Stop
off the top of my
at
head.
the Jets schedule.
Oh, Carolina. That's who it was. So Carolina's defense looks really good, even though they lost J.C. Horn. So we're making assumptions on the Jets offense going, they suck, and they do suck. But look at Jacksonville. They suck. Like, there are spots, though, where these teams, even though they suck, are in better spots to at least put up a fight. This is a spot where I'll say the Jets have a shot to at least score a little bit. I don't think they're going to.
Yeah, 19.25 points.
Yeah,
I don't hate Corey Davis. I don't hate Corey Davis. I don't hate Corey Davis. You taught me into Corey Davis.
That's better than 3, right?
Yeah. No, I get you. I don't hate Corey Davis. I could play some narrative street with Corey Davis.
So do you like the yards? Do you like the touchdowns? Do you like everything? Because again, this is the one guy.
He's like the only Jet like I'd have interest in.
Yeah, and he has a good chemistry with Wilson.
And he's targeting him a bunch. The game script's positive.
Yeah.
And Tennessee secondary is not good. They're not good at all. Like this is not as bad of a matchup as I think people are just throwing it out.
I get what you're saying.
Because the Jets just look that bad, but look at who they played. That has something to do with it.
Let's move on to the next one because we'll get to the baseball show here in just a second. Guys, we're giving away a 555 ticket to our subscribers. So the subs watching right now, be in the mix for that. Watch the show today. It is a free show, and we'll give away a 1-month membership to one of our viewers as well. I feel like we got through most of the big injuries.
It seems like it was the majority of it.
Yeah, at this point. I mean, again, we got another Bucks thing with Gio Bernard, but I feel like the big thing from that was Gronk, and it's not on the main slate, so we don't need to bother with that again. Julio's out. AJ Brown is out. You got a couple injuries here with the Jets. Nobody's going to look at the Jets. The Jets are absolutely horrible. We talked about the Giants too. Lot going on. Just keep an eye on what's going on.
Receivers.
Huh?
Claypool didn't go through practice today, Friday, so he's questionable with the hamstring.
Oh, and
which they said was cramps, by the way, and then all of a sudden it's a hamstring. So it went from cramps to a hamstring, but
he's downgraded. Claypool was, and then Deontay Johnson is not even on the injury report, and Juju's playing. Let's talk about that for a second. You loved Claypool last week. He ended up smashing JSU. Who you want to go to now? And then Noodle Arm is going to go to Deontay 12 times.
I'll just say, everyone laughed at Claypool on Wednesday. Then by Sunday, they started to come around a little bit, and he smashed. Man, and he ran bad in my opinion too, because he was going in and out with, again, what I thought was cramps. Maybe it was the hamstring issue. I don't know if you guys watched that game, but in the fourth quarter, he kept going in and out of the game. And it looked like it was cramps because he was drinking it looked like he was hydrating a lot, but maybe he was stretching his leg out a little after a play. But I mean, I think that Deontay is somewhat in play because he's just going to get peppered with short passes. I mean, Green Bay's defense they're not like terrifying, right? They can be beat, but Ben's just looks so bad. Man, it is tough to back Ben Roethlisberger, but Deontay Johnson with the volume could get it done. I will say, be careful on Najee. Deontay was out for that game, and Najee was just the safety blanket. You know, he hasn't gotten it done on the ground once this year, Holden. Literally, not once. He's done it all in the receiving game, and now people are going to pay a higher price tag for him. Maybe this is the matchup he finally gets it done, but that offensive line is not good. So I'm not on the Pittsburgh side of this game. I'm going to be off all of them.
Let me just look at the other one too. There was another piece of news here. Jonathan Taylor, questionable with the knee. I wouldn't bother with him this week, but that's just me. And then we don't know who's starting at quarterback for the Bears. So that's awesome. What a cluster that, I don't want to say that you could start the worst defense in the NFL against the Bears offense, but I'm also not telling you not to do it. I mean, these guys are a train wreck. So if Dalton starts though, guys, is anybody viable? Because I love Montgomery's matchup, but do I even bother with that given how bad they are?
I think if Dalton starts, even if Fields plays, like Detroit's defense is so bad. Like with Montgomery being chalk, like I wouldn't mind going to the passing attack in that game to kind of leverage Montgomery. If you go to Mooney or Robinson.
I don't know.
Is this crazy to say that I actually am more confident in one of those receivers if Dalton does play?
Yeah,
Is that
no,
wild
not at
to
all.
say? Like, I mean, Justin Fields was awful last week. I will say though, doesn't make any sense to me. If you're going to run this kid out in his first start, why wouldn't you have done it against Detroit and just waited a week? You could have let Nick Foles play last week and get destroyed. Mm-hmm. It would have been fine. No one would have. I don't think people would have maybe the Bears fans would have been kind of pissed, but like in the end, this is the game that they should have been getting Fields ready to start for Andy Dalton either way. And now you're thinking of not playing him against this matchup. What are you thinking? You drafted this guy in the first round. He needs to play in this matchup. He has to. Like, if not, put a fork in him or put a fork in Matt Nagy because one of them's done.
All right, guys. I think that's it. We got a baseball show coming up in probably 10 minutes from now. We'll start a couple minutes late. It's our last baseball slate that we'll be doing this year. So Got With Hoop, we're going to give away a 1-month subscription to a non-member, and we're going to give away a 555 ticket for one of the members tonight for a member to win. So I'm excited about that. JSU, thanks for hanging out with us, buddy. Appreciate it. Listen, you know the schedule better than I do. What time are we starting Sunday with our shows? Like, we've got it early.
Yeah, I got you. So Sunday morning, guys, 8:45 off the Chalk Show with Tambo, AP, and JT. And then it will roll right into the Wood Show, everyone's favorite Wood Show. That'll start around 9:55, 10 a.m., somewhere around there. And that will roll right into the Final Countdown Show at 11:30 a.m. with me, Holden, and Uncle Dunkle, JJ.
Oh, Dunkle, that's right.
Yeah,
Dunkle's gonna hang out.
So I love that show. I love doing it. It's we've done it for a few years now, Holden.
This is our 4th year. I thought it was over. I thought you ran away from me, but you're back. I knew you could.
I fought to get back.
Did you?
I did. I did. I love that show. I love doing it with you every year. It's a fun show. Usually we shit on each
other, but honestly, man, there's nobody better in the business up to lock than my man JSU. So, Bobby Gomes, thank you. 2 straight weeks. I have used parts of your core in the afternoon slate, and I've had much success. I'm close to taking something down, guys. I'm not even kidding. This
It's coming. It's coming, Holden. We'll get you over the hump this week.
Been my best start to a season. Has been very, very good. RPS here.
If you're a subscriber too, Bobby does a Millie Roundtable show on Saturday nights with DC and Snyder, and they give winners on that show. They gave out
We gave a lot of winners out
Bobby
on that show
gave
last
out
week.
Gio Bernard at like under 1% owned. Like no one was talking about Gio Bernard. I mean, he was talking about him in the friggin' Discord, and I got in there. I was like, who the hell is talking up Gio? And then I realized it was friggin' Bobby. And so I stepped back a little bit, but I was like, what is he doing? And he talked up fucking Sanders.
I mean, no Chiefs. I said no Chiefs and all Chargers. DC was on the Chiefs. I was on the Chargers.
Yeah, but DC's on the Chiefs every week.
Hey, DC knows his shit. He's good. I would have played that Staley defense is interesting. That's why I think Russ is having the issues he's having since that game last year versus the Rams. So,
all right, boys, good stuff. Stick around. The baseball show is next. 555 ticket to members, subscription to non-members for JSU and Bobby Gomes. And I know Helmet Creator. I call him Helmet Head though. Helmet Head, you're awesome, dude. Thanks for getting us up here today. Keep running pure.